Muslim man in France stabbed 50 times inside mosque. A Muslim named Abu Qursi was stabbed dozens of times to death at a mosque in France on Friday, April 25th. The perpetrator, who French officials called Islamophobe, filmed the incident while shouting hatred against Islam. Sis, a Malian man in his 20s, was attacked while alone in a mosque in the village of La Grande Combe in the Gard region. He had prayed with the attacker before being stabbed up to 50 times. The perpetrator, identified as Olivier A., stabbed the victim while taking a video using a cell phone. The video was then sent to someone else and uploaded to social media before being deleted. According to AFP's explanation, the perpetrator was seen insulting Allah, the Arabic term for God, right after carrying out the attack. In addition, the recording also showed the victim writhing in pain. The killing itself was not captured on video uploaded to social media, but was captured by security cameras inside the mosque. The perpetrator was aware of the security camera, and in the video he can be heard saying, "I'm going to get caught, that's for sure." The perpetrator is known to have been born in France in 2004, is currently unemployed with no criminal record, and is not a Muslim. The bodies of the victims were only discovered in the morning as other worshippers arrived at the mosque ahead of Friday prayers. Then on Sunday, about 1,000 people lined up at La Grande Combe to remember the victims. France responds. President Emmanuel Macron on Sunday responded to the killings, saying there is no place in France for racism and hatred. Racism and hatred based on religion must have no place in France. Freedom of worship must not be violated, Macron wrote on X. Earlier on Saturday, French Prime Minister François Bayrou had condemned the incident as an Islamophobic atrocity. A worshipper was killed yesterday, Bayrou wrote on X. The Islamophobic cruelty was shown in a video, he added. We stand with the loved ones of the victims, with the religious communities who are deeply shocked. State resources are being mobilized to ensure that the killers are caught and punished, Bayrou wrote again. Suspect in French mosque murder arrested in Italy denies anti-Islam motive. The man suspected of killing a Muslim worshipper in a mosque in France on Friday and filming his victim writhing in agony has surrendered to police in Italy. The 21-year-old's lawyer said that the murder did not have an anti-Islam motive and that the suspect had killed the first person he saw. A man suspected of stabbing a young Malian to death in a mosque in southern France and then filming his victim writhing in agony has surrendered to police in Italy, French and Italian authorities said on Monday. But the suspect, named by Italian police as 21-year-old Oliver Hadzovic, but identified by French prosecutors as Olivier A., was not motivated by hatred of Islam, his lawyer told AFP. Giovanni Salvietti said he had told investigators he had killed the first person he saw and that he has said nothing against Islam nor mosques. The killing of Abu Bakr Cissé on Friday in a French village caused shock, prompting President Emmanuel Macron to say there was no place for religious hate in French society, and Prime Minister François Bayrou to denounce an Islamophobic crime. Italian police named the suspect as Oliver Hadzovic, age 21, while French prosecutors identified him as Olivier A. The alleged murderer, a French national born in Lyon, surrendered himself to a police station in Pistoia, northwest of Florence on Sunday. Abdelkrim Grini, the prosecutor of the southern French city of Alès, told AFP. He said he was the perpetrator of the murder of a Muslim worshipper, Italian police said in a statement. Faced with the effectiveness of the measures put in place, the suspect had no option but to hand himself in. And that is the best thing he could have done, said Grini. Italian officials are in touch with French authorities to ensure that the suspect is handed over to justice, the Italian police said. On Friday, after initially praying alongside Cissé, a young Malian in his 20s, the suspect stabbed the worshipper dozens of times and then filmed him with a mobile phone while shouting insults against Islam. They were alone in the mosque at the time, and Cissé's body was only discovered when worshippers began arriving later that morning for Friday prayers. I did it. The attack in the village of La Grande Combe in the Gard region was the latest in a series of fatal stabbings in France in recent years. France is home to the largest Muslim community in the European Union. More than 70 French police officers had been mobilized since Friday to locate and arrest the perpetrator, considered potentially extremely dangerous, the prosecutor said. After boasting about his act, after practically claiming responsibility for it, he made comments that would suggest he intended to commit similar acts again, Greeny said on Sunday. In the video that the suspect made just after committing his crime, he congratulated himself, saying, "I did it," and insulting Allah. Speaking to broadcaster BFM TV, lawyer Murad Batik, who represents the victim's family, said it was absolutely shocking that the anti-terror prosecutor's office had not taken up the case. Act of terrorism. The murder has put pressure on Interior Minister Bruno Retailleau, a hardline right-winger with a tough stance on immigration. While he met Greeny in Alice at the weekend, Retailleau conspicuously did not visit the scene of the murder in La Grande Combe. "The video I saw didn't take me long to realize that this was an act of terrorism," the lawyer said. Put yourself in the shoes of the faithful, who have the impression and the feeling that this double standard is materializing a little more every day. It's absolutely shocking, he added. French government spokeswoman Sophie Primas insisted there was no double standard in the authorities' reaction. Bruno Retailleau is very determined to fight against all forms of segregation, stigmatization, and violence against any community whatsoever, including, of course, against our Muslim compatriots, she said. The suspect, who is unemployed, lived in La Grande Combe. He was someone who had remained under the radar of the justice system and the police, and who had never been in the news until these tragic events, Greeny said. Prosecutors also believe that someone helped the suspect to travel to Italy. In La Grande Combe, more than 1,000 people gathered on Sunday for a silent march in memory of the victim. They marched to the town hall from the Khadija Mosque, where the stabbing occurred. Several hundred people also gathered in Paris on Sunday, including left-wing firebrand Jean-Luc Mélenchon, who accused Retailleau of cultivating an Islamophobic climate. President Emmanuel Macron expressed the nation's support to the victim's family and to our Muslim compatriots. Racism and hatred based on religion will never have a place in France, he said on X on Sunday. Murder in a mosque in Gard, the suspect's motives remain unclear. The man who surrendered to Italian police on Sunday evening admitted to killing a young Malian man on Friday morning in a mosque in the Gard department. A judicial investigation has been opened. After 2.5 days on the run, a 21-year-old Frenchman surrendered Sunday evening to the Italian police in Pistoia, near Florence. The man wanted for killing Abubakar Cissé, a young Malian, on Friday in the Mosque of La Grande Combe, Gard, surrendered in the company of a lawyer and a close relative living in this town, the Italian police said in a statement. He declared that he was the perpetrator of the murder of a Muslim worshiper. Italian investigators also specified. A European arrest warrant must now be issued for his transfer to mainland France, a procedure that could take a few days or a few weeks, according to the Alice prosecutor, Abdelkrim Greeny. What motivations? The suspect, 21-year-old Oliver Hadzovich, was unemployed and unknown to the police and justice system, added Nîmes prosecutor Cécile Gensac. According to the suspect's Italian lawyer, Giovanni Salvietti, his client denies acting out of hatred for Islam. He allegedly killed the first person he found in his path. In the video he made himself on Friday, just after his murder, the suspect insulted his victim's religion. And this Monday, a judicial investigation was opened for murder aggravated by premeditation and the circumstance of commission on the grounds of race or religion. Earlier in the day, the Alas prosecutor had not ruled out other motives for the suspect's actions. He may also have had a fascination with death, a desire to kill, and a desire to be considered a serial killer, he said on BFM TV. The Alice prosecutor's office has relinquished the case to the Nîmes prosecutor's office, which has jurisdiction as a criminal unit. The investigation will finally have to determine whether Oliver Hadzovich benefited from complicity to join one of his aunts in Italy. French mosque attack suspect apprehended as rallies denounce Islamophobia. The man suspected of stabbing a worshiper at a mosque in southern France during Friday prayers has turned himself into police in Italy. As the manhunt was underway, hundreds of people gathered to pay homage to the victim and to denounce Islamophobia. The suspect, identified as Olivier H., turned himself in to a police station in Pistoia, in the region around Florence in Italy, late Sunday night, announced Abdelkrim Greeny, the prosecutor of Alès in the Guard Department where the murder took place. More than 70 investigators had been mobilized to locate and arrest the suspect, who had been filmed by surveillance cameras in the prayer room of the Khadija Mosque in the small town of La Grande Combe, where he stabbed Abubakar Cissé several times. Previously unknown to police, the suspect was born in 2004 in Leon, in a Bosnian family. Security reinforced at mosques. According to French Interior Minister Bruno Retailleau, the suspect had declared that he wanted to kill more people and become a serial killer in a video he made after the murder and shared on social media. On Sunday, Retailleau said he had asked all prefects to reinforce security around all mosques in France. Greeny said that while Islamophobia was one motive being considered, certain elements suggested that it was perhaps not the primary motive or the only motive. But Islamophobia has been the motive most widely assumed by politicians and the hundreds of people who gathered Sunday. Racism and hatred based on religion can have no place in France. Freedom of worship cannot be violated. French President Emmanuel Macron wrote on X Sunday, extending support to our fellow Muslim citizens. Denouncing Islamophobia. In La Grande Combe, some 2,000 people marched from the mosque to the town hall Sunday afternoon in memory of the victim. It was important that all French people, of all religions, came to condemn this barbaric act, which took place in a place of worship, and to support Muslims. The president of the mosque, Salim Touazi, told France Info Radio. Among the marchers was Abdallah Zekri, vice president of the French Council of the Muslim Faith, CFCM, and president of the National Observatory of the Fight Against Islamophobia, who expressed feelings of anger and hatred towards those who committed this crime. Naturally, the Muslim community is very worried, he told RFI. Muslims are wondering, who's next? We're being targeted. About 100 people gathered at the Place de la République in Paris on Sunday evening to protest against Islamophobia. We expected it. We knew that one day, some madman or terrorist would attack Muslims. Up until now, we've been attacked verbally and sometimes physically, with veils being ripped off. This is the logical continuation of an Islamophobia that's been on the rise for several years, a woman named Khadija told RFI. Not only are we not protected, but we're being targeted. The current government is putting a target on our backs, she insisted. Yoro Cissé, the victim's brother, said that seeing the crowd soothed my heart. Yesterday it was Abubakar. Tomorrow it could be someone else. Let's all show solidarity in the face of this scourge, he told RFI. Politicians weigh in. Several politicians, including France Unbowed leader Jean-Luc Mélenchon and the head of the Greens, Marine Tondelier, were also at the demonstration. For weeks, months, and years now, everyone has been warning about the prevailing climate in our country, about this rampant Islamophobia on television, pushed by politicians and the media, said Green MP Sabrina Sabaihi, co-author of a recent report on the subject. When we submitted this report, we said that the issue of Islamophobia was totally underestimated and that putting a target on Muslims' backs would contribute to an increase in violence. Many in the crowd took aim at Retailleau, who was being interviewed on BFM television, and ruled out taking part in the rally and accused France Unbowed of exploiting the crime for its own political ends. I would like to express my deepest condolences for the tragedy that befell Abubakar Cissé, a young Malian man who was brutally murdered in a mosque in La Grande Combe, France. This loss is heartbreaking, and we all mourn alongside the family and the community affected by this incident. However, I feel the need to offer some criticism regarding the use of the term Islamophobia, which is often used to describe such killings. Indeed, Islamophobia literally means fear of Islam, but in the context of this murder, the use of the term feels inadequate. In many cases, what happens is not merely a fear of religion, but rather deep hatred and violence toward the Muslim community. Similar incidents also occur in Indonesia, although in a different context. Very often, violence that takes place inside mosques, committed by fellow Muslims, is driven by internal conflicts or religious rivalry. For example, the murder of Ustad Saman at a mosque in Sulawesi in 2013 by a Muslim teenager who was disturbed by his preaching. A similar case occurred in the murder of the Imam of Al Furqan Mosque in Jakarta, who was killed by another Muslim due to a personal dispute, though it was rooted in religious tension. If we were to follow the pattern seen in France, where such incidents are immediately linked to Islamophobia, then it is quite interesting to consider that violence inside mosques committed by fellow Muslims in Indonesia could in essence also be seen as a form of internal Islamophobia. I would also like to express appreciation to the Muslim community in France for effectively using the Islamophobia narrative to build solidarity. Although there is debate about how accurately this term is applied, it is important to note that they have successfully mobilized society to stand united against hatred and to show that freedom of religion is a right that must be protected by the state. With that in mind, I would like to propose that non-Muslim communities become more aware of the importance of solidarity. If we witness persecution against Christians or other minority groups, it is crucial to build collective awareness. Perhaps now is the time to popularize terms like kafirophobia or Christianophobia when violence or discrimination against these groups occurs. Let us not allow their loneliness to become a silenced voice. We must speak out together and fight hatred in all its forms, not only for Muslims, but for all religious believers. With this approach, we can all contribute to national harmony and unity by respecting and empathizing with those who hold different beliefs. Thank you for watching this video, friends. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you found this video helpful and would like to continue receiving updates from us. Let us all continue to pray for peace and harmony among religious communities. May the Lord Jesus bless you.
Allah ليس كبير الله ليس كبير واشهد أن هناك الكثير مع الله واشهد أن هناك الكثير مع الله واشهد أن محمدا ليس رسول الله واشهد أن محمدا ليس رسول الله ليس هناك فائدة من الصلاة ليس هناك فائدة من الصلاة وليس نحم النجاة وليس نحم النجاة الله ليس كبيرا الله ليس كبيرا هناك كثيرا جانب الله هناك كثيرا جانب الله